There are 326 quintillion gallons of water on Earth. That is the number 326 with 18 zeros behind it. That sounds like a lot of water. However, out of all that water, less than 3% is fresh water. Much of that water is locked up in ice caps and glaciers, and only a very small amount is potable water, or water that we can drink and use for household purposes such as bathing and cleaning. Let me show you just how little water that is with a brief demonstration. The large cylinder is holding 1,000 milliliters of water. This represents all of the water on the planet that is in our rivers, lakes, and oceans. Out of that, I will pour 30 milliliters into the next cylinder. What is left in the large cylinder represents the 97% of our water that is salt water. The 30 milliliters represents all of the fresh water on Earth, or about 3% of total water. Then I am going to pour 6 milliliters out of the medium cylinder into the smallest cylinder. What is left in the medium cylinder represents the 2.4% of water that is in glaciers and ice caps. Consider the 6 milliliters of water to be all the fresh water that is polluted or otherwise unavailable, which is about 0.6% of the total. Polluted water is water that is not safe to drink or to use in a household. Sometimes it is easy to see the pollution. When you see trash in the water, such as plastic bags, cigarette butts, plastic bottles, and other things that people have discarded improperly, you know not to drink it. In other instances, the water may look clean, but it can be contaminated or poisoned with harmful chemicals that you can't see or smell. Finally, I am going to take a single drop out of the small cylinder. This tiny drop represents the 0.003% of clean potable water on Earth. While that is still thousands of trillions of gallons of water, we live on a large planet and there are over 7 billion people drinking and using water. That's why it's so important to keep our water clean.
Other than trash getting into our waterways, there are two main sources of water pollution: point source pollution and non-point source pollution. Point source pollution is pollution that you can see and point to the source, such as an outlet pipe at a factory or a sewage pipe. Non-point source pollution is pollution that comes from a variety of sources, ones that you cannot necessarily pinpoint. Non-point source pollution includes fertilizer and chemical runoff from residential yards and agricultural fields, and sediment or loose soil from disturbed land or ground that does not have any vegetation growing on it. Since point source pollution is easy to identify, it is easier to stop. Since you cannot tell the exact source of non-point source pollution, there is no one solution to stop the flow. That is why we all need to work together to prevent water pollution.
To help prevent point source pollution, the United States Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, passed the Clean Water Act. The Clean Water Act regulates discharges of pollutants into our waterways. One easy way for you to help reduce water pollution is to make sure all your trash is in the garbage can or is recycled and not on the street or in a field or ditch. If you throw your trash on the ground, stormwater runoff can transport it to a stream, river, or lake. Once there, it takes a lot of effort to remove the trash, usually in a river cleanup event. In addition, there are many ways to prevent or reduce non-point source pollution. Landowners and farmers can make sure they are applying only necessary fertilizer and field and lawn chemicals at the right times when these elements won't be washed into local waterways. You can help by picking up your pet's waste, as that causes water pollution as well. Other ways to help prevent non-point source water pollution include planting vegetation on bare ground to prevent erosion, which occurs when water and wind carry the loose soil away. Agricultural producers prevent erosion when they plant cover crops on their fields for the winter to ensure constant living cover on the ground. Farming without tilling up the soil in the traditional manner helps keep the soil in the field where it belongs as well. This is known as no-till farming. Even though you are only one person, there is a lot that you can do to help prevent or reduce water pollution. If everyone does something to help keep our water clean, it will mean safer water for all of us.